This is News 6 Tonight.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to News 6 Tonight. We hope this is your news streaming destination for everything that you missed today or things that you want to know a little bit more about. And we're going to do a little deeper dive. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
I'm Matt Austin. A casual look at your local and Florida headlines. And the first thing we're diving into tonight is a common topic if you follow Florida news. Alligator Alcatraz. There was a big press conference held outside the facility today, and that was mostly people who are against the conditions inside of what we call Alligator Alcatraz down there. Of course, it's the immigration center down in the Everglades.
Yeah. We don't call it that. There's a sign.
That is the actual name.
The actual name.
Apparently, there are T-shirts as well. So they say that people are being denied medical care there and prescriptions. They say they're being kept in cages and in deplorable conditions. We're hearing about 1,000 men in some reporting are being kept in like flood-prone tents. Yeah. So here are some of the families at this press conference talking about the conditions that their family members are being kept in right now.
This place is a cage. It's for dogs.
El día 16, él lo trajeron el día 14.
So she wants to emphasize that her son has not been giving medicine or adequate medical care.
And that's a big problem. The medical care is the big problem. The woman said that they're being kept in what's akin to dog cages. Right. And a lot of people have said that. They're saying it's just inhumane conditions in the middle of the Everglades, right in the middle of summertime, and you know how hot it has been lately. And they're saying they're complaining about things that the conditions are unsanitary.
Feces on the ground.
And one of the other things I thought was interesting too is they said that there are these fluorescent lights that are on constantly. They never turn them off, and they're
even at night.
Even at night, they have to sleep with the That's what one of the reports says. I haven't verified it independently.
And that's one thing that I want to be careful of as we talk about this. We have not been able to be in there. Journalists were in when they've opened it for the first time, and then we have been kept out. Also, many lawmakers who have gone down there to try to make the trip, they have been usually kept outside of some curated times.
You do hear conflicting stories because you have one group who went in and they said, it's fine. And another group who went in and said, it's inhumane, it's deplorable. One of the things they're complaining about that really got in the governor's craw today was they were complaining about the food. And that we talked about this a little bit earlier, but let's just play his soundbite and you'll see.
They were mad that the ham sandwiches weren't toasted. Excuse me? Odd that they're going in there. I mean, you have these representatives. I mean, first of all, like they're trying to get some notoriety. So they're making these claims.
So if from one side we're hearing feces on the ground, medical issues, and from the other side we're hearing
my ham sandwich is not
cutting
toasted.
The crust off of my sandwiches, and that's
my
why I'm
Uncrustable
complaining.
has a crust.
Right. So that is difficult to report on. So we just have to say both sides. These are the people who are coming from Alligator Alcatraz saying the conditions are difficult. We have spoken to some attorneys, some local reporting here that they are having a hard time talking with their clients. They can't get in there. And if they do talk to them, they can only get it over the phone. I read an interesting article today, Gigi. Did you hear about this? Italy is upset because 2 Italian nationals, this is according to the Washington Post, are in Alligator Alcatraz. Maybe not what people expected. They say that it's inhumane, degrading conditions. They say the food is bad. And so there's a little bit of an uproar in Italy because some of their people are being held.
It's just spreading quite a bit. A group called Human Rights Watch said of June 20th of this year, 56,000 people were in detention centers across the country, and that is 40% more than June of 2024. So in a year, they have almost doubled the number of people in detention facilities. But that was the second thing that voters really cared about during the last election, immigration, the economy being number one. But
and the borders are, Tom Homan, he's saying they need more beds. So he specifically cited Governor DeSantis as doing a good job, according to him, getting more beds so they can put more people in there and get them deported. And so they're ramping up these deportations. It does not appear to be slowing down.
Yeah, the protesters or the people who were outside the detention facility were calling for it to be shut down immediately and letting people go. The Governor DeSantis says he will be visiting there again. He's already been once. He'll go and visit and check out the conditions again very soon. He didn't give an exact date. He just said very soon. All right, another story that we pay close attention to, across Florida, it is so hot right now. We had for 3 days in a row, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, heat advisory where it felt like it was in the triple digits. And I mean 105, 106, 110 degrees, it felt like here in Central Florida. And we very often report on children being left in hot cars. Well, this was a case of a babysitter who left a child in a car seat, but it was sitting on the asphalt. And this was last Thursday. It happened in Eustis. And it's one of those stories where, oh my gosh, a child out in that heat for any amount of time would be crazy hot. And this was in the afternoon, about 3:30 in the afternoon. She realized what she did probably about 30 minutes later. We want to show you some of the body cam of her arrest because they found probable cause to take her to jail. The dad who she babysits for said that, no, I don't want you to do anything to her. She's, she's been doing this for a long time, and it was a mistake. So let's see some of that. And also the sheriff spoke and said that it was just an accident.
No, I'm shaking because I'm just really glad I left him here with you guys.
A visibly upset Wendy Kirk is shown in this body camera footage, at times inconsolable.
I've had these kids for years. I've never done this before.
This babysitter had no other issues. She's not a bad person. She's human. She made a mistake, and she's being held accountable for it. I understand mistakes, and people make mistakes. We're human. Unfortunately, when you're talking about this type of mistake involving a 3-month-old baby left out in the heat, the potential for that could have been horrific and tragic.
Okay, that wasn't the sheriff. I misspoke on that. But he's saying that we all have bad days, but you can't have a bad day when you're responsible for children. What had happened was she dropped off an older brother at a martial arts center and probably just juggling a lot of things like we tend to do, just doing multitasking, doing a lot of things, and realizing right away that something was wrong. And it was really hot that day. I checked in with Jonathan Kegas, our meteorologist, and I said, what was the temperature in Eustis that day? But it was that Thursday before the heat advisories were issued, but it was in the low to mid 90s. And so when they say that asphalt was 96 degrees, that's really
Probably,
hot when you're talking about a little one there.
There's a lot being said about the heat, which the baby was out there, they say, for maybe 3 to 5 minutes before some nice good Samaritan
of course you're going to notice a baby in a car seat.
And brought it in. My bigger worry is you have a baby left in a parking lot. What if a car had run over this car seat? So it sounds like she went, like you said, dropped off the brother, left the car seat there, and then I thought she was still in the vicinity somewhere.
She went home.
Took off, took the kids to the park to play at the park, and then after about 20 minutes at the park,
realized like, oh
can
my
you
goodness.
imagine that feeling of I just left a baby somewhere?
That's crazy. And we always talk about these different heat indices or whatever, and we do a dog walking forecast, and that's where we tell you how hot the asphalt is on a dog's paw because that heat is just emanating. When it's 90 degrees outside, the air temperature, the asphalt can feel like 140 degrees.
140, yikes.
That's crazy.
So
that's
just a car
really
seat
hot.
between that baby and that crazy hot asphalt.
So, I mean, she had a really bad day, but it could have been a worse day for the baby, the family, and
just one of those stories. You feel terrible because I'm sure she didn't mean to do that. But that is such an egregious mistake if it were your baby out there.
You've been a tired dad or a tired parent before.
I am a tired dad and a tired parent. Thank God my kids are not in car seats anymore and they can open the doors because that is always a terrifying worry. All right, it is time to lighten things up a little bit and let's dive into the tasty nuggets of a chicken debate.
You didn't.
You know I did. You know I had to. In Brevard city limits, you can have... Oh no, we're doing the firefighter raise right now.
Oh my goodness!
Look at that.
You know what? Hey, you know why we know that? Because our producer Chris Seltzer is going like,
he was just giving me one of these.
Let's not do that right now, everybody. Chris, thank you very much. Okay, so we're talking about the firefighters. These are men and women who, when the rest of us are running away from danger, are going in the exact direction of everything dangerous. So. We're talking about firefighters in Brevard County who were making $15 an hour. You know who else makes $15 an hour? People who work at Starbucks, people who work at Target, or people who work at Walmart. Those are fine jobs. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. But I want people who are going to save my life, save the life of my family, my dogs, and everything else. I want them making a little bit more than the person at Walmart who probably is not going to save me.
I don't think a cashier is going to run into a fire to save me. That's for sure.
Okay, so they came up with an agreement. The new agreement is a pay raise for firefighter EMTs. They're going to get a 21% raise. So that's going to equal about $3.15 more. They're going to now be bumped up to $18.15 an hour, thank goodness. But I feel like they're like teachers. You can't pay them enough.
I agree.
You can't pay them enough. So that's one of those things where we are thankful for them because everybody can't do that job. They have long days and long nights, and it is hard on them. And do we have some sound that we want to play about one of the guys who says he's really happy and it's a long time coming?
It's bittersweet in many aspects, being that wages is just a mechanism to get what we need. The ultimate goal here, of course, is to be able to provide the services needed by Brevard County citizens, taxpayers, visitors.
Yeah, so they protested about this for a while.
I'm
until
surprised they could
finally
find
got
a
it.
single firefighter to work for $15 an hour.
Well, more than 100 of them left.
They left,
And
yeah.
that was a problem. And they went to
basically
places.
forced their hand.
Yeah, because you cannot have a city or a county with a lack of fire officials or firefighters because
Hey,
emergencies
I'll go
happen.
lack of fire officials. Give me the firefighters. Get rid of the chefs and give me the cooks.
So
you know?
it's a 3-year contract between the county and firefighters union, and the money's coming from an increase in the county fire assessment fees. And you're gonna have to pay a little bit more as a citizen, and I don't mind at all.
I hope they don't
mind at all.
but they need to boost that up though more because I feel
It's
like
gonna get there.
$18.15 per hour. If
Yeah.
you work 40 hours a week, that's $37,700 per year. It still feels like not as
enough.
much money if you're
Yeah.
risking your life. I mean, how many stories have we done on firefighters who have all these terrible disease, breathing in all of this
That's
stuff?
that's a whole
They are
different
putting their
show.
lives at risk, not just in the fire, but later
Yeah.
on. They have such a higher rate of cancers and issues.
And also, they're spending. People forget that firefighters will work like 24 on, so they're away from their family for that entire time, and their families are just hoping they'll just come
They come
back to
home,
them
man.
at the end of a long shift. So
It's true. So well deserved there. We'll guest up. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about the tasty nuggets of
You already used
chicken.
that, Matt.
I know. I did it too early, but it's a good story. Stick with us. We have a lot more coming for you. My bad. So the egg prices have come back down
settled
to
down
earth
a little bit. Mm-hmm,
They've chilled out in the last few months, but people still want to have their backyard chickens. How do you feel about this? I'm curious. Would you have a neighbor? Do you think there's a reasonable amount of chickens that your neighbor should be allowed to have?
I don't care what they have as long as they share the eggs. They could be flying over my fence and I don't care. I just want some of your eggs.
I'm less concerned about your chickens and more concerned about your roosters.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Do they lay eggs?
Do the roosters lay eggs? Do I have babies?
I don't think they're getting roosters back there.
No, but a lot of people get a rooster because, if you want to keep the population going, don't want to go into the birds and the bees around here. I actually had a wild rooster outside my house for a while. It was during COVID, and he would work out with me in the garage.
I remember this.
And but he started to drive me crazy because those things are loud. Anyway, in Brevard city limits, before I get too off topic, you can have 4 chickens. They want to up that to 6 chickens so people can have more eggs. And so our community correspondent, James Barbero, he talks about this chicken story and how they're trying to up the ante and allow you to have more chickens.
Massive shortage of eggs. You could go to the store and they were not to be found for a while, or when they finally get some, they're really expensive.
And that's exactly why I stopped buying eggs from the store. Instead, I found someone who has their own chickens, and now eggs cost me about half of what I used to pay for them. In Brevard County and unincorporated communities, the rules now say you can have 1 chicken if you live on less than a half acre. If your lot's bigger, you can have up to 4.
We are one of the few counties that has such harsh restrictions.
So can I just say I love that James Barbero shoots and writes all his own stuff.
All of it. It looks so good.
He was in his place, and he shot himself pulling his eggs out of
And those were some good-looking eggs. And if you've ever
good.
had like eggs that are like that, they taste different, and
They're
you can
different
tell
bird.
the difference. Yeah. I did a story with a woman out in Tavares, and they will make these chicken coops and bring out a couple of chickens for you.
Mm-hmm.
I was this close to like actually getting a couple of chickens.
You were going to get a chicken coop?
With a couple of chickens until somebody reminded me that snakes like eggs.
Yes.
And so that is really what stopped me.
That did it for you?
Yeah, that stopped me.
Okay, so here are the downsides. You have more predators running around, like snakes or, eagles or hawks will come down and grab your chickens. You have more rats around because you're feeding them that corn and that feed, and rats love to eat that stuff. And those are some good morsels. And you also have the noise. Chickens are not a super quiet animal.
I know, but it's like, if you have a neighbor with a barky dog, that's fine too. It just stay on your side.
No.
It's the same.
Barky dog in the backyard. You want to go sit out on your back porch and enjoy yourself? I don't know. I love the idea of having some chickens and having some land. Mrs. Austin, she's not going to go for it, though.
But that's the key. You have to have some land so you're not butted right up against somebody's house.
I don't want them on my back porch.
No.
And I don't want somebody else. But anyway, the commission gets a final vote on another day. By the way, chickens lay about 1 egg per day when they're in their like real good years of producing, which is pretty cool. You don't have to have a lot of chickens to feed the whole fam.
No, and I grew up when we had chickens, and I learned quickly why you don't name them.
Yeah.
They gave us
Mama
eggs, and they also gave us
They gave us some thighs and some legs.
But I like the idea of them.
Real quick, hey, city budgets are tight. Winter Garden decided that they were going to cut their recycling program, which is going to save them about $1 million a year. And so our community correspondent, Justin Warmoth, decided to do a story about a guy who
love this story.
Trying to fix the issue in his own neighborhood. He and a buddy started a business where they're like, we will recycle your stuff for you. Let's take a look at some of Justin's story.
When Winter Garden ended curbside recycling because it was costing them $1 million a year, there wasn't a plan B. Just a question from a child.
My 10-year-old.
Your 10-year-old?
My 10-year-old said, can we move to a different city? I know my friends in this other city. They can recycle there. Can we move there? I'm like, no. We're going to find this solution.
So these guys are taking inventory of what they're collecting and really how much of it that they've collected. Eventually, that gets uploaded to their website so customers can have some peace of mind about where this stuff is going.
So these are all our pickups today. And that's what kind of gives us our route.
Okay, it would have been way easier to move than to start your own recycling
Really?
business. It's $25 a month. They separate it right there for you. You get 2 bins per house, pick up once a week. And so far, they have about 50 homes.
They have 50 homes, and people are saying, please come to our neighborhood because people want to recycle. And I remember years ago, one of our reporters did a story on where does the recycling go? How does it happen? But because we are so uneducated about how to recycle, most of it had to be put in the trash pile anyway. So you're doing the best you can to sort this, that, and the other. And I also learned from this story, it was a part that wasn't in the actual story. Like if you have like, say a Coke, and it's in one of these plastic containers, right? You can't just put that in the bin. You have to take the label off because the label is made of something that cannot be recycled. So think of how many times you've thrown it into the recycle bin, thinking that one thing will
just mess
tarnish
up, and
the
whole
thing.
pile. They have to chuck it out. So yeah, great stuff. Those guys in Winter Garden.
I love that, and I love that a 10-year-old inspired them.
This is true. Yeah. A young man inspires me every night. His name is meteorologist Jonathan Kagas.
His name is not meteorologist.
It is. His title is meteorologist. Jonathan Kagas. So give us a quick little rundown of the weather here.
Hey, yeah. So different day today. We had the storms out. It was kind of split. If you were northwest of I-4, you got storms early. If you were southeast of I-4, you got storms in the early afternoon. If you were right along I-4, you kind of missed out on the rain. One of the things we're going to talk about tonight is that weird rainfall pattern. The other thing is this is different from when we talked last at 6 o'clock, guys. The little blob off the Florida coast, partially responsible for the rain, has been tagged by the National Hurricane Center for possible tropical development. This is basically deja vu from last week, where same kind of disturbance on the Atlantic side. They highlighted on the Gulf side for possible tropical development. It's nothing significant. It may have an opportunity to do so. We're going to take a deep dive into this system. It's not going to develop prior to Florida or anything like that. We'll have the high resolution future radar to plan your Wednesday, and we're going to go in depth with this little system. Again, bark worse than its bite with that yellow highlight, and for the tropics as a whole. Hope to see you guys at 9:30. We're going to give you the full rundown.
I just hate that.
Bark away, though. I don't want to bite.
Box.
Just I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm with you.
I know. Freaks me out every time. Jonathan Kagas, thank you very much.
Okay, coming up on the other side of the break, you know, when you call for the cops sometimes, maybe they will rescue a cat. Sometimes your dog is, sometimes your dog is stuck or whatever. We're going to tell you about a rescued emu.
It's a bird-heavy show tonight. Be right back.
All right. Welcome back, everybody.
Yeah.
We had, a chicken story earlier, but now we have a different kind of bird, also another flightless bird. This is a giant bird. Who has an emu as a pet? Do you know what these things look like?
Yeah, they look like dinosaurs.
They're in the
Hey,
little
Kevin
thing
Hawthorne.
right there. So Orange County Sheriff's Office, they got a call, and this was yesterday, I think, or earlier today. Apparently, this bird escaped from its owner, clearly, and they called for help. And when you look at the size of it, it's sitting
big as
down.
that dude.
It's sitting down, and it is bigger than the officers that had to find it and rescue it.
I didn't even know emus sat like that.
I didn't.
With those alien legs that
I mean-
fold the wrong way.
I mean, I guess he is trained because he's someone's pet, but it wandered off, and they helped bring it back home. And these birds they don't go gently into the good night or quietly into the good night. They are the second largest land birds. You know what the largest one?
Ostrich.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I don't think, well, they lay eggs too, but I don't think you want their eggs.
We had they have big eggs,
They're
right?
giant.
I think that's one of the.
The
Didn't
size
they
of a
do that on
bowling
the reality shows
Yeah,
back in
yeah.
the day? They'd crack one of those giant softball eggs, and they'd have to drink the
No,
whole
but
thing
I don't think
raw.
anybody wants. But these things can run up to 31 miles an hour.
How'd they catch it? How did two
I
deputies
think it was
catch
just waiting because it's not a wild creature.
Yeah.
It's used to being in someone's yard or barn
It
or
missed
something.
its ham sandwiches at home with the crusts cut off. You can own an emu in Florida, but apparently it requires a permit from FWC. They're a Class 3 wildlife, meaning they are not native to Florida.
No,
You
Australia.
have to have a permit.
Yeah, and apparently this one was legal because I think the owners would have had another problem besides having their bird returned because you're having officers. It's like, can we see your license, please?
Yeah.
To own this
Yeah,
animal.
it must be legal.
But we're glad that
you can
everything
have all
worked out
sorts
okay.
of crazy creatures here in Florida.
But seeing that one, it's just kind of scary because they are. If I saw that thing on the street, we had a case of kangaroos, being
I'd rather see a
on the
kangaroo.
loose.
I think emus are scary.
Kangaroo will fight you.
Have you seen the diesel ones on the internet? I don't know if those are
They will fight you because they
AI generated
They grow
or
from
what.
the day they are born until the day they die. They never stop growing. So, and they're
Some of them look like they're on steroids.
They're working out in the yard.
Coming up at 10 and 11 o'clock, we got another super speeder busted on a Florida roadway going 130 plus.
And you wonder why we have this law. We'll see you at 10.